I take antidepressants, and I love Jesus. Both are true. They told me to pray harder. My doctor told me my brain needed help. They were both right. If you're a Christian who feels guilty about taking medication, if you've ever hidden your pills from your prayer group, if you've ever wondered if your depression is a sin, stay until the end. This is for you. I was the person everyone called when they needed prayer. The leader of the women's group, the ministry volunteer, the one who was always fine. On the outside, I was unshakable. On the inside, I was falling apart. It wasn't a sudden collapse. It was a slow erosion, like sand slipping through an hourglass. So silent that I only noticed when half was already gone. First, a tiredness that sleep couldn't cure. Then, the worship songs that once filled my heart started to sound hollow, empty. I would kneel to pray, and the words would hit an iron ceiling. They'd come back, no echo, no answer. And the guilt came immediately. If I had more faith, I wouldn't be like this. I became an expert at the functional mask. You know it, don't you? The practiced smile, the automatic, "I'm blessed," the performance of joy that church expects from you. I'd hear sermons about the joy of the Lord is my strength and think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I feel this? I'd hear testimonies of victory, of instant healing, of miracles, and I felt more and more alone, more and more broken. Functional depression. That's what they call it, looking fine on the outside while crumbling on the inside. And I wasn't alone in this. I just didn't know it yet. The turning point came on a Sunday morning. I was going to lead the children's ministry. The cheerful music filled the room, and I felt a wave of panic. Hands shaking, breath caught, an uncontrollable urge to run. I made up a headache, locked myself in the church bathroom, pressed my forehead against the cold tile. And one thought, I can't do this anymore. It wasn't lack of faith. It was my body and my mind begging for help. Making an appointment with a doctor was one of the hardest things I've ever done, because I thought it was a betrayal. If God is my healer, why do I need a doctor? If prayer has power, why isn't it working? What I found in that office wasn't judgment. The doctor listened without interrupting, without preaching. And she said something that changed everything. Your brain is an organ, like your heart, like your lungs. Sometimes organs need help. Sometimes the neurotransmitters get imbalanced. This isn't a moral failure. It's biological reality. Biological reality. Those two words broke a chain I'd been carrying for years. Depression is not a sin. It's chemistry. It's biology. It's human. And God created science too. I started treatment scared. The first few weeks were hard. Side effects, doubts. But slowly, something began to change. The weight lifted. Not completely, but enough to breathe a little deeper. Morning devotions stopped being an overwhelming obligation. A hymn brought a spark of warmth to my chest. It wasn't instant healing. It wasn't a TV miracle. It was a slow climb, step by step, from the bottom of the pit. And something happened to my faith. Prayer changed. It was no longer desperate pleading for a miracle. It was gratitude for small mercies, for the wisdom of doctors, for the courage to ask for help, for the grace I resisted for so long. God answered my prayer, not with a bolt of joy, but by guiding me to the resources I needed. Here's the truth the church rarely says. Your medication doesn't make you less of a believer. Your therapist doesn't replace your faith. Your diagnosis is not God's judgment. Grace extends to your brain as much as to your soul. I told my story, first to a few trusted friends, and I discovered I wasn't alone. Other women who struggled in silence, who hid their pills, who felt the same guilt, they came forward, shared. We cried together. The journey continues. It's a daily walk of faith and self-care, but now with a quiet strength born of honesty, a deep empathy for those who suffer in silence. If this echoed in you, if you're carrying this weight alone, your pain is valid, your faith is real. Asking for help is courage, not weakness. You are not alone. Subscribe. We walk together. This also is faith.